Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the North Dakota Varsity Sports Update. I'm Jody Norstedt. It's a special edition as we dive into National Signing Day, the day where pen meets paper and dreams come true for kids across the country. We'll hear from a few of the North Dakota high school players that have signed on to play Division I football right here in their home state. And with the focus on signing day, we'll take a break from Horsing Around this week, but it will return for our next show, which will be in 2019. So have no fear, Horsing Around is here to stay. Where should we begin? How about the game of the week? We chose Bishop Ryan at Shiloh Christian boys basketball from Saturday, and it didn't disappoint. The Lions enter the game as the #1 team in the state, a position Shiloh Christian held in the preseason Hoopster poll before being knocked off by Dickinson Trinity to open the year. So Shiloh Christian had its shot at stealing back the spotlight against Ben Bull, Mason Hedberg, and that strong Bishop Ryan squad. Nothing like an early top 10 battle in Class B on a Saturday afternoon. Early on, it was the top two guys from the top team shining. Mason Hedberg hits a pull-up three. He led all scorers with 24 points. Ben Bull, an all-state selection a year ago, hits the spinning layup in the lane for the Lions. Later, it's Bull hitting from outside. He finished with 17 points, which it was actually an off night for him. The home team eventually finds a spark. Matthew Reed finds Trey Brunel, who buries the three. Later, Jaden Mitzel gets his own miss and goes up strong for 2 of his 20 points for the Skyhawks. And then it was the big man's turn. Senior Macaulay Young had a huge night. He rips down the O board and puts it back up and in. A few minutes later, he takes the pass from Mitzel and gets the and one. Shiloh's starting to pull away. 19 points and 19 boards for Young. Shiloh up 5 at the half. Bull and Hedberg doing their best to keep the Lions in it, but they had to work extremely hard for every shot that they took. Shiloh's defense was so tough. Mitzel, well, he seemed determined to get his team the victory. He played well on both ends of the floor and helped Shiloh Christian secure the 71-55 win. The top-ranked team goes down, and the Skyhawks look to be on the rise again, and Mitzel gives credit to the team depth.
It's unbelievable how much depth we have on the floor and all that. We have 8 to 9 players that can play, like Michael Keene, Cole, Josh Flaherty, those guys. I mean, they can play anywhere they want, like on any other team in the Class B basketball, and I promise you they will start on that team.
It's proven that if you play good competition, you get better. You're kind of forced to get better. Plus, the other thing I like about it is good teams will expose what we're not good at, and then I can go fix that in practice. I don't want to find that out in March. I'd rather find it out now.
Now we continue some hoops conversation as I reveal some of the performances that caught my eye over the past week in our Lookin' At You segment. In Bowdoin-Skunberg, I'm looking at you. Bowdoin scored a career-high 49 points on 16 of 30 shooting in Jamestown's 97-79 win over Turtle Mountain this past Saturday. Skunberg has been on fire to start the season. He's averaging 30 points per game for the second-ranked Blue Jays, who are now off to a 4-0 start. He's just a junior, but he's already verbally committed to play for NDSU. He did that last month. The future looks bright for Skunberg, who really has such a great basketball IQ. He has some good challenges coming up, though, facing Century on Friday night, and then a week later, he and the Blue Jays go up against Minot. I'm looking at you, Mandan boys basketball team. What a wild come-from-behind win on Tuesday night against Minot. Here's a look at some of the highlights. Mandan trailed the 4th-ranked Magi by 13 points with just over 5 minutes to play. That's when things turned around in a hurry. The Braves finished the game on a 22-6 run to win it by 3, 86-83. Braves big man Elijah Klein scored the go-ahead bucket with less than a minute to go. It's a huge win for the Braves, who now move to 3-1 in conference play.
It's good. Minot was ahead of the pack, and we came out strong, got the win, so now we just hopefully build off this.
We just talked about to just keep playing. And it all started defensively. Our energy picked up on the defensive end, and we finished possessions with rebounds. They were kicking our butts a little bit and getting some second chance points, but we really buckled down and forced contested shots and finished with rebounds, and then we got out and ran. And our transition the last 6 minutes was really key to our comeback.
By the way, Bismarck beat Century in a rivalry game last night too, so it looks like it's going to be a wild race in the WDA this winter. Finally, I'm looking at you, Fargo North-South girls hockey. You proved that you are the queens of the mountain over the past couple weeks. North-South took on the 5 top teams in the state, outside themselves of course, and finished that stretch 4-0-1 with that tie coming to fellow unbeaten Bismarck. Sophomore Abby Promisberger is up to 17 points on the year, which ranks 2nd in the state. And meanwhile, the duo of junior Alex Kinney and senior Lauren Haar has been stellar in between the pipes. We're still a ways away from the state tournament time, but North-South looks like it could end up right back in the championship game under a new head coach in Chad Christensen this season. All right, let's transition to the gridiron now, where it was National Signing Day for Division I college football players, and we have 10 players from the state of North Dakota that signed on the dotted line today. Let's start with the NDSU trio of Davies product Jaden Clabo, Dickinson Trinity speedster Caden Kuntz, and Fargo South tight end defensive end Dawson Weisenberger. Now, Clabo really burst onto the scene after a strong junior season where he racked up over 500 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns from his tight end position for Fargo Davies. He fought through an injury-plagued senior season, managing to still rack up over 200 receiving yards. What I like about Jaden is that he has great size at 6'4", 214 pounds, and he's not a spotlight guy. He'll do the dirty work and try to throw big blocks that open up lanes for the running back. Clabo was also a 2-time All-State selection. Our cameras captured a number of Caden Kuntz highlights this year. After having his junior season cut short due to a serious knee injury, he found redemption on the field. The 5'8", 158-pound Trinity Titan torched defenses to the tune of 1,600 all-purpose yards and 21 TDs on his way to being crowned the Class A Senior Athlete of the Year. He started all 4 years and ended up with over 4,000 yards of offense and 45 touchdowns. Unbelievable. I see Kuntz fitting into that Ryan Smith mold from a few years ago with NDSU, the Wahpeton kid, a dangerous slot receiver that can be used as a returner on special teams too. Yeah, that does sound kind of familiar. Bison fans are going to like watching him on that turf. Dawson Weisenberger will join Kuntz and Clabo at NDSU. Weisenberger has been strong on both sides of the ball the last few seasons. He utilizes every bit of his 6'3", 216-pound frame, earning first-team All-State honors as a tight end and finishing with 15 sacks and 8 forced fumbles in his career on defense. Weisenberger attended camps at FBS programs like Iowa, Iowa State, and Nebraska over the summer, but was ultimately sold on the opportunity to play for the hometown Bison. We were there today when Weisenberger signed on the dotted line to be a Bison. He told us that he's excited to be wearing the green and gold.
It's my hometown team. It's a team I've always watched growing up, and they just have the culture that I love and the family atmosphere, and it's just going to be a great place there. I'm a hardworking kid. I'm passionate. I'll bring my 100% every single day, and I'm just working hard. I mean, it's a big deal that your head coach is leaving, but I think that Coach Entz is going to be a great coach too, and I have faith in him, and it's going to be fun to do. It's been a long process, and I'm glad it's getting over now, and I just can't wait to get up to NDSU.
All right, we go from NDSU to the UND commits. 7 players in the Fighting Hawks 2019 signing day class hail from the home state. We'll go in alphabetical order. When you see Haley Buckholtz, you think playmaker. I remember talking to Shanley head coach Troy Madden when Haley was just a sophomore there, and he raved about his athleticism and told me that he was going to be a future Division I player. He was right, and I can tell you one thing, speed won't be an issue for him at the next level. He's usually one of the fastest players on the field on Friday nights. He also has pretty good size at 6'2", 180 pounds. He put up nearly 700 yards receiving his senior season and hauled in 7 touchdown passes. He also intercepted 5 balls as a senior, including one in the Deacon State Championship victory over St. Mary's. The accolades are there too. He was named the Class 2A Senior Athlete of the Year and just played in the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl down at the Cowboy Stadium in Dallas, Texas on Monday. That's a pretty sweet opportunity. I got to know Haley really well this year after doing a story on how he deals with dyslexia. He is one of the most well-spoken and kindest young men I've ever met. So UND is getting a really quality individual, and give Bubba Schweigert and his staff credit. Even in the recruiting process, they laid out a plan of how they'll help Haley with his transition to college on and off the field with the needs that he'll have with his learning disorder. I'm looking forward to seeing what Buchholz does at the next level. Now, Schweigert also dipped into the West Fargo Packer program for a couple of commits. Luke Lennon, the nephew of former UND head coach Dale Lennon, and E.J. Langstaff signed up to play in Grand Forks this morning in front of family and friends. Langstaff is an intriguing talent. He was known more for his defense after a strong junior year, but UND initially plans to use him as an offensive lineman. Langstaff really blossomed in his junior season and caught UND's eyes at a summer camp. He's 6'5", 250, and that number's probably gone up since the end of his senior year. The Fighting Hawks will want him to pack on the pounds, though, to that frame. But he's a big man with speed and ready to take advantage of his opportunity.
I mean, a couple of years ago, I wasn't even thinking about past high school football. I was just trying to help my team and find my role on the team. It was really cool to finally put pen to paper and finish off this recruiting process.
Now, as for Lennon, he's 6'5", 220, and will probably get a crack at defensive end first, but I could see him being a linebacker or a tight end too. He led the Packers with 51 tackles this past fall en route to being named first team All-State, and he's been a fixture in the starting lineup since he was a sophomore, which is really rare under Coach Gibson. Now, he made over 150 tackles in his 3-year prep career, and he was very durable too. Lennon grew up going to games in Grand Forks, so for him, this is a day and a dream come true.
Well, yeah, I remember as a kid going to tailgates, and the atmosphere of the games was pretty cool. And, you know, I always wanted to play D1 football, so it was kind of a dream of mine, so that was like a goal, so I'm proud that I made it.
The Fighting Hawks also feel they've discovered a gem in Milner North Sergeant's Adam Newstel. First off, he's a big boy already at 6'3", 285 pounds, and once Nate Bockel gets his hands on him, he can help him get even bigger and stronger, which is scary. The Bulldogs went from a 3-win team in 2017 to a 7-win team in 2018, and he was a big reason why, helping pave the way for running back T.J. Johnson to have some big games and doing a nice job in pass protection as well. He also finished with 9 tackles for loss on the defensive side of the ball. Another good get for UND is Tanner Thorsness, who comes from one of the top defensive units in the state in 2018, Bismarck Century. Thorsness and the Patriots limited teams to just 13 points per game this fall. Thorsness made 58 tackles and 9 sacks as a junior and followed that up with another outstanding season as a senior, finishing with 11 sacks on his way to a second consecutive first-team All-State selection. If you have a conversation with him for just a few minutes, you also realize pretty quick that he's a natural leader. He was the first in-state commit for the Fighting Hawks and told me back in the summer that it was the way that the UND coaching staff made him feel like family that meant the most. Carrington's Caden Wolski is one of my favorite players to watch. He plays that smash-mouth, old-school style of football from the linebacker position. Wolski leaves the Cardinals football program as a 3-time All-State selection and helped lead them to a 15-4 overall record the past 2 years combined. At 6'1", 200 pounds, he packs a punch with every hit that he makes. Wolski also won the 182-pound Class B State Wrestling Championship last year, so he'll defend his title coming up this winter. Park River Fortville Lincoln has produced some great athletes over the years, and Adam Zavalny is the next in line. You put him on the football field, basketball court, or baseball field, and he's going to be one of the best players out there. I remember he helped lead the Aggies to a state championship as a sophomore in baseball, and he hit a huge home run in that game. This year, he played quarterback for the football team, but his head coach, Robert Gall, admits that he was playing out of position. He's just their best player, so they ran a lot of that read option stuff, and he was able to rush for nearly 1,000 yards and pass for 440 yards on the season. But with his 6'4", 190-pound frame, I think he'll be more in the mold of wide receiver with the Fighting Hawks. Although he didn't get to show off his hands much on offense this year, he did manage to snag 14 interceptions in his junior and senior years combined. And good luck to all 10 of those North Dakota high school players that signed to play Division I football today. And now the real work begins. That's a wrap for this week's North Dakota Varsity Sports Update. We'll be off next week for Christmas, but return in 2019. Until then, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.